All right, some more U.S. Women's National Team injury news. So this time it's surrounding Julie Ertz. Julie Ertz suffered an MCL sprain in last week's defeat to the Portland Thorns. So last week, Julie Ertz was playing in the game. She collided with Rocky Rodriguez and she sprained her right MCL, which, whenever you hear the two medical terms MCL and ACL or cruciate ligament, you always get a little scared because those injuries, if you do tear them, are very, very severe. It's like you're talking a year timeline to return to playing, but it's just a sprain, so it doesn't sound like the worst case scenario for Julie Ertz. So this is what Jeff Kassoufs had to say about it on Twitter. I quote, out for summer series, expect her back for Olympic send-off games and to be ready to go for the Olympics. So a bit of a scare there. Obviously, whenever a U.S. Women's national team player gets injured, it's very concerning for us as fans because all these players are some of the best in the world. They're very valuable for their teams. And it's really strange because I've never heard of two players as indispensable as Julie Ertz and Tobin Heath getting injured at the same time, at least since I've been a fan of the U.S. Women's national team. So this is a very interesting time throughout their history. And I would say this too. To me, Julia Ertz is the most indispensable player on the entire roster for many, many reasons, which is why I was really nervous when hearing about this injury for a few reasons. One, she's one of the main anchors of the defense despite being a midfielder. A lot of times when they use her, at least from what I've seen, they use her as like a holding midfielder and she basically helps out a lot on defense in that respect. She's the anchor for the midfield. She's really good at it. She was a former central defender and I believe sometimes still does play central defense. And she has such a presence in the midfield. It's one of the best in the world. I've never seen anything like it. She absolutely dominates every midfield. When she has possession, she holds it. She never lets it go. If somebody else loses possession, she gets it back probably within a few seconds. Like her and Sam Ewis, Lindsey Horan, Rose Lavelle, they dominate the midfield so well and they retain possession so much. It's so common and we're spoiled as fans to see the US typically have 65-70% possession at least in most games. And I think a large part of that is due to Julia Ertz. And if you don't have the ball, you can't do anything with it. So that's another reason that makes Julia Ertz so indispensable in this case. She gets you the ball and she keeps the ball when she has it. So really, really interesting stuff overall. I'm just glad that it sounds like she'll be ready to go for the Olympics. So I'm going to operate under the assumption she will be in the Olympics. I want to pursue the hypothetical just for a second here, if you guys will indulge me. What would happen if she didn't? If she wasn't ready to go for the Olympics? I'd be really curious to see how much harder Vlatko's job would get. I know that he's got a lot of talent in the midfield. There's no denying that. He's probably got 6, 7 midfielders that are world class that he could use. However, none of them play in the midfield like Julie Ertz does. None of them have that defensive acumen like Julie does. And like I said, Julie's defensive acumen and prowess is so high that he could build the formation around Julie. A lot of times, at least from what I've seen, it's been mostly a 4-3-3 with Julie as the holding midfielder. That's just me personally, what I've seen. If you guys have noticed other things, feel free to just put it down in the comments below. But one thing I noticed leading up to this particular time period in the U.S. Women's national team camps and games is that Vlatko has been using a 4-2-3-1 for some games, at least for some of the time. I heard JP Dellacamera and Ali Wagner mention this a few times. I heard Heather O'Reilly mention it once or twice that the U.S. was actually playing in a 4-2-3-1 throughout a couple of their friendlies, and I believe throughout the She Believes Cup as well. And I have a theory surrounding that, and this is my theory. My theory is that Vlatko recognized how valuable Julie Ertz was to their team and to the midfield and their formation, where he had to think to himself, okay, hypothetically speaking, if Julie Ertz can't play, what is our formation going to look like? What are we going to do? And I believe, me personally, I believe that he did and experimented with the 4-2-3-1 a little bit to see how the team would cope and what he could do tactically in order to compensate for that difference. So I don't know if it's a far-reaching theory. To me, it sounds pretty reasonable because you want to assess what happens when you lose the best players out on the pitch, especially one as indispensable as Julia Ertz. So I believe that's maybe one of the main reasons why he experimented with a 4-2-3-1 throughout some of the friendlies. At least that's what I saw going on. You guys can comment down below whatever you saw or whatever your theories are surrounding that. Be my guest for sure. But that's just some of my thoughts on Julia Ertz's injury. I'm just happy it sounds like her and Tobin will be playing in the Olympics this summer. Not really a whole lot of details given out, and it's kind of weird because I've noticed with the U.S. Women's National Team they don't really reveal a whole ton a lot of information about their injuries, and that's why we really haven't heard anything about Tobin Heath's injury because they seem to be very hush hush about their injuries. At least that's something I've kind of noticed throughout. So food for thought. I guess we'll kind of see what happens. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do you make of the Julie Ertz injury situation? Feel free to jump down in the comments below and let me know.